Hello, we're streaming live. This is Aini Living Conversations, 164th session. I'm with Blue Heron Woman, that is right now in Indianola, Oklahoma. I'm Julian Catari, coming to you from Jalapa, Veracruz. We have Synchrodestiny today as the topic of this weekly conversation that we host, where we uncover, we explore the great wisdom, mysteries, knowledge of the ancients, and where science meets that, and where what is kept as censored must be told. What is kept uncensored, what is censored must be told. So this is the uncensored analysis, exploration of sacred wisdom, of ancestral wisdom, of natural science that seeks to liberate us. And what is synchrodestiny then? What is it going to be about? So let's hear from Blue Heron Woman. What is synchrodestiny about? It's a nice title.
Yeah. So from the moment we become aware of the world around us, we begin to wonder about our place within it. The questions we ask are timeless. Why am I here? How do I fit into the scheme of things? And what is my destiny? When we're kids, we kind of tend to think of the future as a clean sheet of paper on which we can write our own stories. And the possibilities seem endless, and we're energized by the promise of discovery and the sheer pleasure of living immersed in so much potential. However, as we grow up and become adults, we are educated about our limitations, and our view of the future becomes constricted. And there is a way to regain this soaring joy that we had as kids of unlimited potential, knowing that the future in front of us is indeed a clean slate, clean sheet of paper. All that's required is the understanding of the true nature of reality and a willingness to recognize the interrelatedness, or Aini, and inseparability of all things. This is synchrodestiny. Then, aided by some techniques, you find the world opening up to you, and good luck and opportunities will occur more and more frequently. And this is synchrodestiny. It's very powerful. So with synchrodestiny, we gain the ability to transform our life and create our reality. The first step to living this way is to understand the nature of the three levels of existence. So as we descend, as our spirits, now this is the only Mormon philosophy I think is congruent, is the Mormons believe that when a woman is pregnant, she's bringing the spirit into human form, which is absolutely true. Absolutely true. Mm-hmm. So as we descend from the invisible impersonal realm to the visible and personal material realm, we came first from the spirit domain, the invisible, impersonal, non-local plane or domain. It can also be called the virtual domain, the spiritual domain, the 0 point field, the God herself, the great mystery, Holy Mother, the void, whatever, it's she who can be named 1,000 names and is yet still the unnameable one. This is the domain we all came from. The intelligence of this domain is what organizes the energy soup that she created with her singing, the three of them, the old ones, with they created this energy soup, right? So they organize it into knowable entities, this energy soup, this intelligence. Mm-hmm. It's what binds quantum particles into atoms, atoms into molecules, and molecules into structures. It's the organizing force behind all things. So one relatively simple way of thinking about this domain is to recognize the dual nature of our thoughts. As we listen to these words or we read them on a page, and our eyes are seeing the print, and our mind, not our brain, is translating the print into symbols, which are letters and words, and then trying to describe their meaning, we simply ask, who is it that is doing this reading? What is the consciousness that underlies these thoughts? So with this twist of attention, we can become aware that there's a presence within us, a force that is always doing the experiencing. This is our soul, our essences, or our orenda, which is a Sioux word for essence, soul. And its experience takes place at the virtual level. As has already been said, this domain creates and orchestrates the activity of information or information. But if you break that word, information, coming into form, right? Information and energy. Non-local events have three important qualities that distinguish them from events in the physical world. These qualities are that they're unmediated, they're unmitigated, and they're immediate. So let's dig a little deeper to understand these three words and the way the non-local, the God herself energy soup works. Spider woman, Ishmukane.
Energy soup, okay, I like that.
Yeah. The behavior of two or more subatomic events are acausally interrelated. One doesn't cause the other, so they're without cause. Meaning that one event is not the cause of another event, yet the behavior of one is immediately correlated or coordinated with the other. In other words, they're dancing to the same tune, even though they were not communicating with each other in the conventional sense. This is the meaning of unmediated. The two events are also unmitigated, which means the strength of the correlation remains undiminished with distance in space and time. In the physical world, to understand this, in the physical world, if we're talking in the same room and then one of us moves out the door, the one who goes out the door's voice becomes weaker, depending if the one out the door is talking, or or if the one in the room in the house still is talking, then that person's voice is weaker. And the further outside the other person goes, the greater the distance and the less you can hear. Not so in the quantum realm, not so in the energy soup of Ishmukane. The space energy soup. And that's what unmitigated means. The strength of the correlation remains undiminished, right? So finally, immediate means that there's no travel needed for non-local events. Non-local intelligence, or God, Holy Mother, is everywhere at once and can cause multiple effects simultaneously in various locations. This would be where our story of Santa Claus comes from. Right. So this then is the source of the coincidences that are so important to synchrodestiny. When we learn to live from this level, we can spontaneously fulfill our every desire, and we can create miracles. What does it mean to live from this level? It means to understand that we are one. We are the center of that soup, that energy soup. Every single one of us is. And so therefore we effect everything else. That's what, and I just got that lesson, as you know, with my banking fiasco. I was writing this and I got that lesson. Which was really cool, and it works. It really, truly works.
Right.
So, so then the next one is the mental or quantum domain, and everything at this level still consists of purely information and energy. Everything at this level is insubstantial, meaning it can't be touched or perceived in any way by our five senses. Our mind, once again, not our brain. Our thoughts, our ego, the part of us that typically thinks of ourself, are all part of this mental quantum domain. These things have no solidity, yet we know ourself and our thoughts to be real. Everything in the physical, visible domain universe is a manifestation of the energy and information of this quantum domain. So the material world is a subset of the quantum mental world. Another way of stating this is that everything in the physical world is made up of information, right? Of information that's coming into form, right? And energy. So In Einstein's famous equation, we learned that energy, or E, equals mass, or m, times the speed of light squared. This tells us that matter, or mass, and energy are the same thing in different forms. So energy equals mass. Every solid object is made up of molecules, and molecules are made up of smaller units called atoms. So this means that the solid chair we each are sitting on is made up of atoms so small we can't see them without the aid of a powerful microscope, and that the chair beneath our butts is actually vibrating and moving, and we're not truly sitting on it.
Mm-hmm.
We're hovering about a nanometer above it. Even though it feels like we're truly sitting on it. That still blows my mind. That still boggles my mind. So atoms then are made up of subatomic particles which have no solidity at all. Subatomic particles are packets or waves of information and energy. So when we live from this level, we know that the chair we're sitting on is nothing but energy and information.
Mm-hmm.
Which again is mind-boggling. Just right. Or the table right, that our computer sits on, or that our computer is nothing but energy and information, or
Mm-hmm.
energy coming into form, being in form.
Mm-hmm.
So the physical world of objects and matter is made up of nothing but information contained in energy that's vibrating at different frequencies. The reason we don't see the world in front of our eyes as this huge web of energy or this huge energy soup is that it's vibrating too fast. It's just moving too fast. And our senses function very slowly, so they're only able to register chunks of energy and activity. So then these chunks of energy becomes our body, the chair, the table, the couch, the sofa, the pictures on the wall, right?
Mm-hmm.
The trees outside, the animals, right? So, and so on. This is similar to what happens when we watch a movie. A motion picture is made up of individual photo frames with gaps in between the frames. If we looked at the movie in the projection room, we would see this. However, when we're sitting in front of the movie screen, the frames are strung together and played back so fast that our senses can no longer tell the gaps between the frames.
Mm-hmm.
So we perceive a steady stream of information.
Mm-hmm. It's a good example.
At this quantum mental domain, the various chunks of energy or standing waves that we perceive as solid objects are all part of the one energy field, the 0-point field, or God herself. Ishmukane's chemical soup, not chemical, energy soup, right? If we were capable of perceiving everything that happens at this level, we would see that we're all part of this great energy soup, and that everything and each one of us and all the, quote, solid objects we perceive are just clusters of energy, distortions of the field, so to speak, floating in this soup, distortions in this soup.
Mm.
So at any given moment, our energy field will come into contact with and affect everyone else's energy field, and each of us responds in some way to that experience. So we are all actually just bumping into each other, truly.
Mm-hmm.
Physicists would say that we experience solidity because everything is made up of atoms, and the atoms are bumping into other atoms to create a solid. But when we consider that the atom is a little nucleus with a large cloud of electrons around it, then we know that when we touch an object, we perceive solidity only when the clouds of electrons meet. So every time we blink our eyes, those clouds of electrons are no longer bumping into each other. And as soon as we open our eyes again, they've bumped into each other.
Mm-hmm.
So the reality is when you blink, when you close your eyes, those our solid desk and our chairs that we're sitting on just disappear into vapor, into clouds. Gone. That still is mind-boggling.
Mm-hmm.
Our eyes are programmed to see objects as three-dimensional and solid. Our nerve endings are programmed to feel objects as three-dimensional and solid. But in the reality of this quantum domain, there is no solidity. So when electron clouds meet, they meld and separate it. So when we touch another object, we have given a bit of our energy field to the object, and we've received a bit of its energy field. This is Ayni in action continuously.
Mm-hmm.
So we're constantly giving parts of our energy field away and receiving parts from every single other entity around us.
Okay.
Every single other object, whether we consider animate or inanimate. So with every encounter with everything, we are exchanging information and energy and come away changed just a little bit. If we had quantum eyes, we would see that everything we think of as solid is actually flickering in and out of the infinite void, 0-point field, Holy Mother's energy soup at the speed of light. So the universe that we see in front of our eyes is an on-off phenomenon. The continuity and solidity of the world exists only in our imagination, fed by senses that cannot discern the waves of energy and information that make up this quantum level of existence. So in reality, again, we're flickering in and out of existence continually. The sense of continuity is held only by our memories. The sensory experience of all living things then is purely an artificial construct created in the imagination. So two monks were looking at a flag in the wind, waving in the wind, and one said, the flag is waving, and the other one said, no, the wind is moving. And their teacher happens to walk over, and they ask him which one is right. And he said, both are wrong. Only consciousness is moving. Because as consciousness moves, it imagines the world into existence. So our mind is actually a field of energy and information. We have imagined our physical body and the whole physical world into existence by perceiving the energy soup as distinct physical entities. So then the last level of existence is the personal realm, the physical material, our body. The visible universe in front of our eyes. This plane or domain or level of existence is what we think of as the real world. That's actually just an illusion. So it contains matter and objects with firm boundaries, everything that is three-dimensional and everything that we experience with our five senses. In this domain, we seem to think that time flows in a straight line, and so we call it the arrow of time that moves from the past to the present to the future. This tells us that everything in the physical domain has a beginning, a middle, and an end, and is therefore impermanent. Everything above that domain is eternal.
Mm-hmm.
So this physical world, as we experience it, is governed by the immutable standard of cause and effect, and so everything is predictable because of that.
Okay.
But when we understand the two levels above it, we can change the predictions we place.
Okay.
That's where that's where we work with the two domains above the physical domain.
Mm-hmm.
So, and that's all I got for tonight. That one was short and sweet.
Oh, wow.
Unless we want to totally shift gears and go into back into the world of money.
Okay.
Which I was planning to do next week.
Well, if you want to do it now, or do you feel like doing it now, or
sure,
next week? Whatever you say. I'm all good. I was trying to. I mean, that was just fascinating. This last information and the flickering, and it just kept me, because I've been thinking, now that I'm doing camera work, learning about the flickering of an LED lights and how that's not really good for us, and screens and everything flickers, but then how the creation itself flickers.
Yeah, it does.
So that's it's very interesting how technology is becoming a very weird kind of mirror of the cosmos. It's like obviously a very low resolution mirror, but somehow it reflects that. And artificial intelligence and all that stuff, very poor mirror, but it does mirror some things.
Yeah, it does.
And I guess there is an experience from that. There, I mean, there is something that we wanted to learn from it, so that's why we allowed it to come this far, and we want to learn from it.
Yeah,
I
I
guess
do.
what we can say now, we learned from it. Now we can go beyond and think: is this what we want? Do we want to be trapped in a video, in
Yeah.
a
Well,
Zoom
in a
meeting?
video that's not of our making,
Yeah,
right?
and that's the worst part. Yeah, because do you want to be a shadow banned? Is your Do you want your reality to be shadow banned? Yeah, that's because that's even it's not even, we don't even really have a vote on what happens. Okay, so or maybe we should leave it for next time, so that way you can
Yeah,
find
I
me.
think we
But
should.
short and sweet is always good, because
Yeah, it is.
it keeps that energy close together. So let's just close this. I know that some people come and watch this and they enjoy it, or they learn a lot from it. So we still are waiting to hear more from you. We still want to see you take charge of your reality, and you can start by communicating, by losing that fear of contacting, of opening up, of reaching out. That's why we're here. That's what we want. And of course, that is not what you get from the business mindset. We are beyond the business mindset.
Yeah,
A true wealth comes after business, after that. You understand there's way richer things than just having a lot of money or making a lot of money. And
right.
all this business mentality, well, it can get you to perform better. It can check you up on how you perform in your life, but then there's a limit to that. You can go way beyond that, and
Yeah,
there's a lot more to there. You can get a lot richer, a lot smarter, a lot
yeah,
healthier,
yeah.
and we're here to accompany on that. And with that, we'll invite you for next week. I was thinking, do you want to keep it on Thursdays, or you want to bring it back to Wednesdays?
I don't care.
Let's bring it back to Wednesdays. What do you think?
Yeah, that
Okay.
works.
Okay, Wednesday, 6:30 Central Standard Time.
Yep.
The something about money.
Well, we're going to start a series. Let's call it the deep dive into the dark abyss. Something like the dark abyss of our current system. We have to understand this so that we can revolt.
Okay. The dark abyss of our financial system.
Not just financial, everything.
Okay, so it's going to be
Everything,
beyond.
the entire system that runs the world. We're going to take this apart piece by piece.
Okay. Deconstructing the matrix.
Which we already kind of did last year with our talks about patriarchal psychosis, but that built the how it developed.
Okay.
But now we're going to talk about
Okay.
like.
So
We're going to start with money. We're going to go into a little bit more of the straw man system in America to show how corporations are now considered living entities and why they have so much power, so that we can say no more. I will not tolerate corporations anymore.
Okay.
And then we're going to go into the absence of the sacred, because this matrix really has no sacredness in it. And then beyond that, we're going to go into the caste system that runs the world. And
we gotta talk about that.
oh yeah,
We have a hard
and then
time
we're
seeing
going to go
how
into the
racist,
shock treatment,
how
the
racist
shock
we
and
are.
awe theory.
You know, by
It's
keeping this, by not wanting to participate in in the growing beyond the system, we keep the system, and then we are indirectly participants of racism.
well,
Somehow.
you know, and this is where we have to also realize that there's a balance. I went into my acupuncturist today and said, you know, I've discovered it's a tower. Right? She's like, but you can change the energy of the tower. I said, no, you can't. We have to stop being so positive about some things so that we say no to them, because you cannot change the energy of the 5G tower. I did. I tried. But 3 years later, I've been sick for an entire year because of the tower.
Okay. Well,
you can't
and
change it.
there's a lot of information coming out of that. I've been seeing more and more information that they've even made these, and I think they do work. They're actual electric cleaners that you plug into your any plug in your house, and I've seen this lady that sells them, and she measures with the machine, and because your electricity by itself is causing electromagnetic noise.
Yeah, it does, but it's not like the 5G towers.
No, of course, that's the worst of all. But then if
Yeah.
you clean the I mean, you can just get this little machine thing, and that'll clean your house. So if your house is better, then you know you're bringing it
But
down.
once again, we have to look behind the machine. Who created the machine and for what purpose? Really, I mean, she's selling them, but this is what we're going to go into in the absence of the sacred. We get all this technology thrust on us that says, hey, look, this technology will do what? Who the fuck is behind that technology, and who benefits the most from it, and why do they benefit? And we don't ever get the chance to say no. It just gets put on us.
Okay, so saying no, well, I think people know, whoever has been listening to this, they know what saying no means, because we would have to explain what saying no means.
Well, yeah, and we're going to talk a bit more about that as we get into the absence of the sacred, because people might say, well, and we're really going to, but we can use technology. Really? Can we? Really? Can we? Because we have to understand that all computers were initially created only for the military, for their weapons guidance system. So they are an object of war. So we cannot be that passively positive to say, oh, but we can use it. No, you want to use it, you better, then let's create our own.
Okay, so we're in that road of
that's where we have to come to this path that says, if we still want this, we have to create our own. We can't rely on it because what is their motive? You can't change their motive.
They can't erase it or put a finger on it.
No.
Okay, so this is gonna continue diving deeper and deeper, and more information is coming for everyone. So come join us next week, and please join us beyond this conversation into the real world and making this happen. So with that, see you everyone.